Hey, this is my homemade 13.5-foot kayak. It's built in somewhat similar methods to the sawfish that you'll find on Instructables.com, and I got a lot of ideas on modifying the sawfish and making it more of a fishing kayak from battleyak. If you YouTube that, you'll find the battleyak, and so I got a lot of ideas, but I did a lot of things different from those as well. So start from the front and kind of go back and show you what we did. I did a handle out of PVC pipe, but did bungee in it so it's somewhat flexible to make sure I don't damage things. Right now I've got a large Group 24 deep cycle battery that's in there. Gosh, those are super heavy. So I thought I just wanted that bungee handle to kind of make sure I didn't damage anything in the kayak. But I'm able to move the kayak with the motor and the trolling battery and everything on it. And I'll show you later in a moment why. But so, and then let's see, let's open this up. I got this weather tight. It's not watertight, but I got a weather tight container. It's pretty cheap on Amazon. And bungeed it in by putting these hooks around it, and this is it's just kind of a foam gasket. There's the large battery. A lot of room up here where I'll still put, since it's not actually watertight, I'll put dry storage bags in there. There's also this entire container will lift out, and there's more room to store things up in the front if you really needed to or wanted to, but I'm not going to take that out right now. But let's see. So for my transducer mount, I used a Scotty flush mount and got this Scotty transducer mount here. Had to modify with some spacers for this to work with my, I forget, it's a Garmin, this is a Garmin portable fish finder that works for ice fishing and has a bag, carry handle bag and everything. But I switched this from that kayak to another store-bought kayak. I got a Lifetime Sport Fisher, which I wanted this to be transferable. Nothing's permanently mounted where I can't take that off. So anyways, so the transducer cord here goes through the kayak. Inside here, if I took the container out, there's PVC that runs up here and wraps around so that the cord doesn't get in your way when you're trying to get the container in and out. Keeps the cord out of the way. The cord is wound up kind of up in the front with the excess length. So then the cord for the transducer goes through the wall right here into, this is kind of a cooler where I can put drinks and things to keep things cold. The wire goes through there, through that PVC and through a little notch here. And then here's where my battery is for the fish finder as well. And I just carved a notch so that it sits real nicely in there. And that can secure, it's got a leash that I can secure it to something if I really was worried about it falling out, but I'm not. Got the foot pegs. And then this is the speed controller for the trolling motor, and then just the standard mount that comes with the fish finder. Now the power for the trolling motor runs through the PVC up and also wraps around and goes to the it goes up to the battery and then runs under the seat here through this cord to plug into the speed controller. I wanted to have this movable so I can, if I'm standing and fishing and things, I don't have stuff in my way. The PVC, of course, runs back here to the trolling motor. And then the foot pedals, like battleyak, they're I used a what do you call this, irrigation sprinkler system tubing, and then put real thin wire through it, and then I just used fishing weights, split shots, to clamp on the end to keep that from sliding off, and it's done fine so far. So I cut into the kayak on the side a handle that's molded or whatever built into the kayak, but it's a heavy kayak, and so I also have these handles, which more were meant for wrapping around the oar to keep the oar in place, but I found it nice to have two handles so I can carry with two hands. The oar can also go right here on top of this fishing rod holder, under this one, and on top of that one. It's a great place to keep the oar out of the way. Got a bungee cargo net area there as well. Of course, the Scotty flush mount fishing rod holders that are adjustable, or when I'm rowing, I can just take them off and get them out of the way. When I'm not using them, I just toss them back under the bungees. But so I got fish rod holders on each side, plus these trolling fish rod holders that are made out of PVC and flared out. On the cooler top here, I've glued in a magnetic tray or whatever to put hooks and loose things on, and I have one right back here as well glued in. Then I put this in for my anchor, and at one point I might give it a try putting downrigger clips and measuring out lengths of this and trying to use this as a downrigger, a cheap poor man's downrigger. We'll see what happens though. But this chair is the thing I love the most about this kayak. It is so flippin' comfortable. GCI Outdoor Anywhere chair, I think is what it's called. It's got a built-in cup holder right here, a bunch of built-in framing hooks that the straps go through, that I also found convenient to attach things you need all the time. Quite often would be scissors or line clippers, and when you catch a fish for getting hooks out, I got some hemostats up there. This is also a portable waterproof speaker that I got on Amazon. It's like $30, and thought it'd be nice to play music over my phone, be able to make phone calls from my phone without having to take my phone out of a waterproof case. It's got a built-in speaker for that, and so let's see. And then the trolling motor, similar to Battleyak's. I did a similar trolling motor mount, but I guess and steering ability with the foot pedals. Mounted it a little different though. I didn't want to use the threaded wire. Well, first of all, I wanted to be able to bungee this down so that when I'm traveling, I can travel with the motor on, travel with everything ready to go, so when it's time to fish, I just pull it off the trailer. I use a Harbor Freight trailer to haul my stuff around on, and anyways, it makes it really nice to travel with everything all ready to go, so when it's time to fish, you just jump on and go. For the steering, I used these little carabiner thingies. I forget what they're called, but it makes it so I can adjust the steering cables to the proper lengths really easily, but they don't slip, and I don't have to worry about having the exact lengths correct. This bungee to hold things on just is really flexible and easy to use. I might replace all the cargo net bungees with this style thing too, just because it's so easy to operate. You don't have to untie those knots, which are a pain in the butt sometimes. So let's see, the trolling motor. One sec here. Loosen that. Spin that around. Sorry. Okay, so steering, I attached it with a U-bolt here, wrapped the shaft with duct tape, which is to kind of give it some cushion to dig in without damaging the shaft, but make it so that it really isn't going to slip. And then I put a piece of PVC right here so that when I can't lower the motor all the way, but when this is, maybe I can lower it more. Let me see. I have these two leashes that the PVC will slide over a little better and not catch on things. So one rope here pulls the pin to allow the motor to be dropped into the water, and the other one is used to actually pull the motor up out of the water. So those ropes run up to the seat, so I can do that from sitting in the seat. The only thing I have to do is be ready with the proper length and depth. Let me set this down for a minute. Okay, so this one's permanently tightened. That's not going anywhere. This one will loosen just enough so I can turn it and things, but the mount holds the weight just fine with it sticking out there like that. So once I'm ready to launch, I leave it like that and can do everything else from the seat. I did drill scupper holes into the back compartment right here. Water does not come up and in through those scupper holes, but I could also buy the lifetime scupper plugs, which are foam scupper plugs. These are sized for, so I can stuff that in if I really needed to. But I have tested this and it did fine. And then scupper holes there and scupper holes up front. And let me close this battery compartment so I can turn over the kayak and show you why water doesn't come in. I think Battleyak said he had issues with that, and so he filled the scupper holes later, but one sec. Okay, let's see if I can't roll this onto its side. Okay, if you can see the shaping, Battleyak did one layer for these, I forget what those things are called on a kayak, sorry. But I did it 2 layers on the outsides here, so it actually sits up out of the water enough that water doesn't come up through the scupper holes because they're in the most shallow points. So the bottom of my kayak is shaped a little bit differently, and I really liked it. And this is the last feature I wanted to show you is I built into the kayak. It's going to tip on me, hold on. Alright, I built into the kayak an axle and put some solid plastic wheels on it. It didn't add a lot of weight. I used a hollow tube axle and trapped it in place with PVC. And you see the elbow joint here, and the PVC runs about 6 inches up into the kayak. And like I said, when I have all the weight on it, like I do now, the motor and the trolling motor battery, it's quite heavy, but it can be rolled around, and you can carry everything down to the lake in one trip if you need to. And so it's worked out really nice. If you don't have the weight of everything on it, it's certainly even easier to roll around, or you could just carry it. But the last feature I failed to mention was on the seat. I built PVC pipe so that this chair snaps into place, and when it's time to get off the lake or to transport it, this snaps out. And set this back in here, and that will, oops, I pushed it too far back, hold on, or not far back enough, sorry. That will fold down nicely for transportation. And another thing that I found that I love is I like to be able to transport my fishing rods not in the car and keep them in the kayak, so again everything's ready to go, but also to keep hooks from going into coats and different things that are in the car. So I put, just like in a bass fishing boat, I put PVC pipe rod holders so you can lay your fishing rods down on the side of the boat and inside of it though, so the rods will come up here, and when I strap down the kayak, I'm strapping down the rods and the kayak oars and everything all right inside this, and you can transport it all on the trailer, not inside your car. Fishing rods and everything, of course, depending how many fishing rods you bring. But we just went out to a pond to test it the other day. You see the watermarks there, and we had no problems with anything in attaching. I think I had 4 fishing rods at that point. And then I put my son's kayak on top of this kayak and my daughter's on top of that one. So I just have to take this fish finder off and put it inside the bin there. And same thing with the transducer. I can just lay it down flat and inside the kayak there, and everything is just really easy to transport, which is what I love the most, I think, about this. So that's my kayak, and if you have any comments or suggestions or questions, don't hesitate to send me a message. Thanks for watching.